Hello everyone, welcome to a simple analysis and the introductory um, video to this series that we'll be doing on YouTube for the free mentorship. Okay, this is me trying to do a full geometrical analysis and a simplified logical analysis on price action and how we measure price movements in the market according to time and price. Time and price. Okay. So pay close attention to what I'll be teaching in this video, and it will give you a good understanding of what to expect and how you'll be able to use the principles that I will teach to be able to build good and profitable models in this series. So, first on the list of the things that I want us to look at is how price and time works, okay? And this is the first video in understanding geometry. So, the geometry of price simply is the cyclical behavior and the patterns that price creates and the measurement of each extension that it actually initiates. So, for example, um, we'll be using the Fibonacci to make most of the measurements, and I want to use this time window to illustrate what I intend to teach, and I hope it brings a little bit of clarity to you. Okay, so I'm using today's price action on gold, that is from 1400, that's 2 p.m. down to the full hour of 1500, that is an hourly candle. Okay, so full hourly candle is what we're looking at. So um let me return the box so it kind of like give us the measurement accordingly. So first thing I want you to see, or what I want you to note, is how that I picked each of the price level. That's the high here and the low here and the midpoint, and I identify these three price points in a box. But I want us to go step by step and try to predict where the midpoint would be and where the high would be, okay, using just basic principles of measurement, okay, just measurements. Now, I want you to mark the 45 region, the 75 region right here, the 75 region right here. You can see that was useful here when price returned back into it. And when price was coming down from this point down to this place, the measurement, it also used the 75 region, okay? And then bounces off it and continues until it got to this point, all right? Where exactly is this high forming? It's according to the geometry within this hour, okay? So let's focus on this one right here, okay? Now, take for example the first box I highlighted. Let's make this a different color, just to kind of give it a different ring to it so we don't get confused easily. So we have right here the first purple box highlighting the first 5 minutes in the market. Okay, so the first 5 minutes in the market provides us this first box. And the first box is what we're going to use to make our first measurement. Now, when you take this box and you extend it upward, it'll give you the exact full candle range, okay, to the high of it. So that's the first principle of measurement in this geometrical price analysis. Now, let's contrast that to Vortex mathematics, right? Now, the price level at this point is the high right here, sorry, is um 127 4127.980, right? Um, no, not necessarily. I'm coming, that's not it. I think I took the price for the low rather than the high. Yeah, I kind of got the low down here and then I recreated the up here. So we're gonna have to change the decimal, the numbers after the decimal point for the high, which is 170, not 980. So we're gonna have to change that to 170. And after that, we do the math again to suit that, which is 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 and plus 7 again. That's 22, which is the same thing as, yeah, same thing as 4, right? And this is very important, okay? This is very important. Yes. The reason why I was off by 1, I still didn't notice, okay, which kind of sucked. Now, this gives us an exact number of 4. This gives us 8, and this gives us 8, right? Now, take a very simple look at the midpoint. Why I had to highlight the price at the midpoint is because it's 4,116.644, and it equals 26. Now watch this. This right here is also 26. So if price is trading at this level, I wait for the first 5 minutes and I already know the range at which it is going to cover by extending this box upward. So I know that at least this range right here would be covered, right? So my expectation is that if this candle is not a consolidation, I should see a doubling of the first 5 minutes range, right? Sometimes it will triple it. Sometimes it will extend to many different ranges. But in most cases, it does the doubling of it, which makes it easier to predict. Okay. Okay, let's take this to a more, tighter region. And then you see something using just the bodies of the candle, ignoring the wicks, right? So let's tighten our measurement and see. Okay. So it also gives you exactly this point right here, which is slightly lower, okay? But it gets to exactly the 75% region, okay? That's 0.75. Now, why exactly that point? And one of the things or the laws of measurement that I want you to stick with is the 75 region for your entry or exit targeting, okay? So you have to take note of, if you're gonna miss anything today, don't miss that, okay? Don't miss that at all. Is that use the 75% to target both your entries and your exits. Make sure it's properly done, and always utilize them for entries more, and exits you can target highs or lows depending on what liquidity cycle you're trying to utilize, right? So in this first candle, and we'll look into another candle soon after, I want us to break down its structure, its geometry carefully. And the more you do this, the more easier it becomes for you to, you know, become a bit more better at making predictions and finding successful models. And the thing is, um, when you have a good understanding of a single fractal that is one structure like this, it becomes easier for you to translate that into higher fractals, right? Take for example, why was the return back into this place and then the price kind of rejected at that level? Why was it not aiming for somewhere else? It came exactly into the box at 25 right here. and then turns. Okay, why would it use the first one? Why not the midpoint? Okay, that's because it tells a narrative, a story. If you left this region and went as low as this, the same time it requires from here to get to this point will be more extended. It might have no opportunity to cover the entirety of this entire structure because it has to go up and down, up and down, up and down along the way, right? But the deeper a retracement, the the more difficult price has to attain higher rooms. But the smaller retracement into, say, a gap or something that has to do with gaps or things that has to do with, let's just say, yeah, let's leave it at gaps, or I don't want to use PD arrays, but anyways, gaps basically. So any gap that exists within this region, the first portion of it, if it's actually bullish, I expect to see that this point right here would hold price tightly, right? If it gets down here, I'm looking for bodies not to close, you know, below this midpoint right here. Okay. So if it closes below it, I'm no longer, you know, more bullish to say. So I wouldn't be happy to see a thing like that happen. Okay. If I see that and it's still within a single candle, within a single range expansion, and I'm expecting to be able to analyze to great detail and predict the market, I wouldn't want to see this basically happening. Okay. And the simple logic behind this is that the more the more you begin to make structural geometrical um, analysis, the easier it becomes for you to determine your certain kind of like movement fluctuations within the market. Your range expansions and your expectations and your targets will always be on point. So try to get what I'm saying in this video and try to understand it. Okay. So notice that the first 5 minutes here, the first 5 minutes fractal, I highlighted a box. And in the next 5 minutes, it came back up, tagged into the 75 region, and then fell off. Okay. Where did it go to? You have to take note of it. It came within 25 of this other fractal right here. This 5 minutes right here. It used the first gap up. Let's mark that out, right? So you have to take note of the 25 region and the 75 region in your analysis, okay? These are key important places that I want you to focus on, this and this. So we have the 75 region, which it left it, came back and tapped the 25 region, then rallied higher. In this case, it left it, came back to 75 and then pushed higher, right? Over here, it came 75, came down 25. Now I want you to do a simple analysis of the vortex mathematics, the values that exist within these values, okay? And connect them to what level price left at the 25. What was the price level here? What was the high right here? Okay, according to vortex mathematics. Now we're gonna start to dissect the market piece by piece, right? And over here we have a high of 4,126.110, right? Okay, usually don't say 110, but 110. Okay, so 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 6, right? Plus 1 plus 1, and then you don't put the 0 because it's literally nothing, right? And that's 15, right? So what's 15? 15 is 6. So you can simply just pick this right here, highlight it, and put 6, right? And you've marked that point as 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess what? Sixth candle. Looks funny, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's the high here? When you do the math, when you do Vortex mathematics for it, it gives you 6 as well. So 6 aligning with 6 is equal to a certain change in movement. That right there could be someone's motto. It's the counting of the candle and, the alignment of its exact movements at, you know, um, when it aligns with the 75 region, at what point? At this high right here. When the high closes at 6, you use this candle for entry and target 25. Okay, that's 0.25. Basically it. Now, I want us to do something very simple. Okay, that is to say, pick this high right here. Okay, what's the high on this candle? 4120.560, right? So 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 5 again, then plus 6. And this would give us 18, right? 18 is 9. So right here, we'll just put on this high right here is 9, right? So yeah, we know it's to be on the price axis is 9. Okay. Now from this high right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does it sound funny? Yeah, it should sound funny to you. So this is price geometry. Okay, from this level right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When you take the high of this candle and you do the vortex mathematics, it equals 9. And when it comes down to this point right here, it matches it. So the 9 plus 9 energy causes a convergence, and that shifts price. Now from just this disclosure, if you go through it and you begin to look into price and you begin to truly digest its flow and movement, you'll be able to understand precisely how to use vortex mathematics to make certain predictions with accuracy and always be legitly right. Now, there are so much. Take note of the time frame I'm using. It's the 1 minute time frame, guys. So it's crazy, right? So all you have to do is sit with this information, try to dissect each principle I showed, and you'll begin to see price speak a different form of language to you. Now, this is just the introductory video to geometry, and I'm not going to teach it excessively. Okay, I'm just going to brush up on. I didn't teach this to my mentorship students, by the way. Okay, because I know a lot of people would take my material and just use it to, parrot it online and not really teach it in the way that I actually want it to let the community have it. So I decided to show them some secrets, and then I'm gonna put all the remaining on the public domain so everybody can see how the cat counter like literally trades, what are the ways he internalized price actions, and how does um, prediction become easier over time and experience, right, in the markets. So I have, by nature of my current understanding, taught mathematics and geometry of price. Okay, an introduction of it. Now, this is just how you actually can understand the rotation and structure of each individual fractal. So within every single time, okay, there is a fractal and a nature that that fractal respect. Okay. Now, it's not consistent in the same manner every single day in this way. You got to know that I didn't teach you this as source code. I literally just gave you a blueprint that I expect that you would go into your chart and begin to uncover, see if this is repeating and something that you can actually make use of. Okay. Now, it's not gonna be consistent. Every day I would drop, content. No, I don't do that. I am a trader and I trade multiple accounts daily. Some of them I take losses in them, some of them I take good trades in them. Okay, so I have multiple accounts that I tend to every single day. And it's difficult to rotate around different accounts and at the same time find time to teach. That's why I'm not in most of the times. If I'm not studying, I'm doing something else. So I have so much daily, so I hardly find time to bring materials to your knowledge, okay, and make it available to you online. But I promise that if you stay patient, I will keep uncovering and releasing things that would literally change your life and make you far greater traders, okay? I have not been able to advertise or speak my mind concerning the markets or talk about predictions and analysis concepts or even make different form of the principles that I employ public. But in this coming months, I decided I will that I would show some of the things that gives me an edge in my prediction and in my ability to actually make trades easier for me. And the reason is because I'm trying to give you an introductory view and insight that would make you no longer have to hunt for information running back and forth looking for different mentors. I decide I want to make mentors. Okay, I want to create mentors too. All right. So I want to teach the next generation of mentors, men who would take these teachings, whether they give me credit or they don't give me credit, I don't care, as long as they would show it in the best way possible and teach it to the next generation without error. I'm okay with it. I don't care for a name or followership or any title. I just want to help in the best way that I can. I'm a very simple person. I don't have much to live for aside from providing the necessary aid to people to grow and to help them achieve their abilities to make money, their goals to make money actually achievable. So that's what I live for. And I know the meant and the calling of God upon my life. Okay, I know what I'm on earth to do, but in the trading space, I don't really know what I'm here for. All I want to do is just help. Okay, and I don't think I'll be available online for much longer because the more I interact with people, the more I feel very, very responsible for many of the actions they take. And sometimes when they come to me with losses, it really hurts me. And I don't want to keep seeing things like that because it's really difficult to sleep after you see some people take major losses. And some of my students have actually taken losses, and I have taken losses, but I'm responsible for that. But when people don't apply what I teach properly and they also fail, that hurts me. And I don't like that. This is why I don't love to teach. Okay. This is why I run away from posting videos. And it's a simple logic, actually. Is that I don't want to be responsible for when people take the wrong choices or take the wrong actions, and then they come back to blame me and stuff like that. And though no one has actually literally blamed me before or said it's because you taught me this wrong and it's why I feel, no, I haven't experienced that. But just the thought of it sometimes kind of give me a fear of why should I teach this? Why should I explain this? When somebody can literally just go be a contrarian and just do the opposite and fail. I'm not saying all of you are like that. Well, anyways, enough of the jawboning. Let me talk about the last thing that I want to talk about. Now, how do you determine the middle before the price action actually ends, right? But notice that in the first box right here where I highlighted the first 5 minutes of trading, remember each of these lines you see is 5 minutes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Okay, so this is 12. Sorry, I had pickled egg. I've had like pickled eggs, and I kind of uh, it's messing with my belly. because I mixed it up with some few things and it's not sitting right. So you can hear me just going back and forth, breathing and kind of like, releasing gases from my belly actually. Not passing gases literally, but it comes out of my mouth and stuff like that. And I feel like as though it's getting it's getting really really messy down there. And I need to get some few medications to, kind of help with that condition. All right. So uh, the first sixth candle created this arc, stop at 75, and also when you add the vortex mathematics of the high here, it also gives you 6. All right. That's perfect symmetry. Now, when it takes it down here to this point right here, it takes 9 candles. And when you take the vortex mathematics of the high of this candle, you get 9. That's your answer. Now, how do you know the midpoint? You take the vortex mathematics of this low, okay, and the midpoint or the exact endpoint of this guy, which is the high of this guy, which will give you the midpoint actually. So when you have 8, 8 divide that by 2, and you find 4. Does it look reasonable to you? Okay. Now, think of it that every single geometry, every geometry right here has multiple cycles within it. And I counted it, the number of cycles that are recurring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cycles, right? That's the so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So this is actually 14, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then we have 60 right here, making it a full 1 hour. So that's what you're studying right here is the cycles, the geometrical cycles that exist within a single hour. So there are 5 fractals right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make up the first word, 25 minutes. All right. So you could say within this 25 minutes, what's my high and what's my low? These are the 2 points. You can identify the high and the low within that point, and you can highlight them as liquidity points. You can literally put little liquidities on them. Okay, just get a piece of line and just draw them out. And when you draw it out, highlight it as your point of initial liquidity. Hey, that's not what I want. Okay, all right, this is what I want right here. All right, so you highlight that and you put a little sign saying, okay, this is the point where I'm expecting liquidity to be based. Okay, and when it sweeps it by this movement right here, by the way, it uses the 75 region before this move left, and also it was exactly at the 25 region right here. Okay, so the 25 region and the 75 region served as the perfect place for a support, and then the support pushes it higher to this point. And as it takes it out, you can just say the first 25-minute cycle created this point in liquidity and this point in liquidity. You can mark them out and pull them out. So when it leaves this point right here and keeps going higher and takes out this point of liquidity, what's the immediate point of liquidity left? It's this guy right here. So you mark that out and push it into the next hour. And remember what we said the 75 region is. The 75 region right here. And I would want you to simply do something like this, okay? And it'll help you, hopefully, okay? This is it right here. Now, to get the number of candles that it takes from here to this point, you have to do the separation of these other fractals as well. You separate them in cycles and then do the analysis, its geometry, and you would find how many candles it is going to need to create before it gets down here. Okay. Um, a need to drop this video first to my group and let them use it before I upload it on YouTube, but I don't really know what to do. So I'll just, as the Spirit of God leads me, I'll just do exactly what I want to do with the video content. Okay, I haven't gotten any copyright attached to any of my videos yet, so most of them would be on my public domain soon. That's because I don't want it to be sold or corrupted by entities that are wicked and, so because I got these materials and teachings, some of them by revelation, some of them by books, I expect that there are no authors you would find teaching it this way. So most of them were built as concepts from me. Okay. Some of them I got from my mentor ICT. And I would give him credit for this measurement concept that I got, how to use the Fibonacci and use, the 75 region, even though he never actually used it at 75 expressly, 0 0.5, 2.5, and the 0 point. Okay, so these are how I mark my, Fibonacci. And I learned this arrangement from him. Okay, this arrangement of numbers. I learned it from him. And the use of the fair value gap, but not this actually. This is something completely different. Okay, so you can you can just look at it carefully, and by nature of how price is actually being studied, you can see that every single thing is measured, it's calculated, and things have to align for certain movements to occur, right? So take for example this first arc here being 6 and the vortex math aligning with exactly 6 is not random. And from that 6, it took 9 candle to hit this point right here. And here also the vortex math right here is 9, right? So the endpoint will be this, and then you begin a new geometry, a new arrangement in your price study, okay? And if I had time, would have dissected this guy right here and studied as well. But I do not have the time to do a 1 hour long video in a single teaching of geometry. So I think the next thing to to be studied, the next thing I promised I would teach on my Discord. I remember I sent a list of things I want to teach on Discord, and I said the first thing there would be for me to teach you how vortex mathematics and the geometry of price work. And if I remember correctly, I said I would show you that price is not random and that it's actually possible for you to time the market. All right, so this is what I have actually done right now in trying to give you this explanation, and I hope it's clear and it's actually something you can resonate with and grow carefully in, all right, and perfectly nurture until you excel at it. Okay, so the next in our study would be time and price analysis, then the rhythmic laws of the market, then we'd be using, um, peak in values and how would use higher values to make vibration of different frequencies, and then find highs and lows or tops and bottoms of markets. Okay, then we'll now look into, these are the topic outlines, the topics outline, okay, outlined in the Discord. And then we'll look at this, we'll now look into the signs of the time macros, the macros that ICT taught, and we'll now look at true liquidity versus false liquidity, and then the dynamic of randomizers and pattern principles, right? So these are the things we'll be studying in these lectures that would be coming out. Now, I will drop this video, and if you have questions, please send them to my group on the Discord. Do not send them on YouTube. I do not know how to track things on YouTube, or how sometimes it takes a while to find out that somebody commented, and that sucks sometimes. So I believe that it'll be more easier on the Discord because everybody gets to see the question, and I will take my time to break it down. Okay, and starting from the month of August, I'll be dropping daily trades for daily and hourly cycle trades with stop losses and everything, just like giving you, let's just say signals to trade with. Okay, so I'll be doing that on Discord. I have more time around August to do those things. So I actually want to enroll in a theological school to study scriptures a bit deeper. If I get enrolled around August, I might not have time to do it, but if I don't get to do that this year, then I might actually have more time to drop signals and stuff for you to take trades daily. And it's gonna be fun, okay? And I literally can't wait to do that because some people have no idea. Even after so many hours and months and years of teaching, they still have no idea how to make decisions. Some people have the mind, they don't have the mind to take trades on their own. So I find that it'll be a healthy thing to do these things. But I think for something like that, I would first have find those people who will be because I'll make it I won't make it actually a group. I'll make it a group that's sealed, okay, and I would like close the group, and anyone who wants to go in there, it'll be free. It won't cost you a thing. Um, you would first sign an agreement saying that you don't actually will sue me if you take a losing trade because losing trades are actually price of doing business. So should you take a losing trade, that would also be that you saw my analysis and you follow verbatim what I did. Machine actually, I can make mistakes, right? So if I make mistakes and you lose money, you can't sue me. Okay, that's gonna be the rule in this. Is that you have to trust me enough to be able to know that, yeah, I can be wrong sometimes, but most times I will be right. And on the days I am wrong, you won't bring lawyers dragging me down and stuff like that. And to all those who have been asking, my name is Alpha Luke, okay, and I go by Raw the Seventh. And people don't know my real name, but that's my real name. I'm Alpha Luke. I've been very detailed about that. And I don't want people continually misjudging or seeing what I do as something that completely is random. I want you to see by your own, very own eyes this year that what I teach works. So there is going to be signals provided for you to trade with, and some of them will be correct, and most of them will be correct, but sometimes I might get things wrong. So that's to say you have to risk what you're willing to lose, okay? And you won't go in over leveraging. You'd find that I would be most times very, very correct in my prediction. And sometimes that would give people the kind of the push towards believing that, wow, he's always right. So let me just go in with a 50 lot size. Don't do that. Don't do that. No trader in his right sense does that, except if you have billions of dollars to trade. Okay, but that's not wise to do. It's not proper and it's not healthy. Okay, so I've taught you different ways to use Vortex mathematics tonight, and those people who have been in my group will now have full understanding of how I do these things. Okay, and I'll be teaching most of the things I'll teach on YouTube, but it won't be clear to most of you because you were not in my private mentorship. So, but those who are there, this is an extension of your teachings, and most of what I would do now will be very, very, be like a connector, and it'll make a lot of sense to you now, and you begin to create models with more ease, and you'll be able to do these things I do easily. Now, I didn't teach time to you guys, but now I'm beginning to introduce it, so pay close attention. Okay. Now, because of the nature of the number of accounts I trade daily and the number of people I interact with, and sometimes my business as well, I do not have the time to always be on YouTube to teach. But I promise that in this month of July, I will be more active, I will be more creative, and I will be more, you know, available for questions and answers and for different sessions. I hope that this gives you a very good understanding of Vortex mathematics and how it works in the price geometry. So keep on pushing hard, keep on grinding hard, keep on analyzing and forecasting, and you would you'd come to a good understanding of why I have made these things this way. Now, the next price action is this region right here. I want to touch on this and then go, you know, take a nap or something, sleep it off for today. I literally have a lot. I have a lot of accounts on Goat Funded and some on different other, you know, prop firms that I trade, and I just recently got involved into all of those things because I felt like, to me, prop firms were like scams before. Never really trusted them, but I've decided to give it a try, and boy, does it actually rock. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm not recommending, I'm not affiliated to Good Funded or anything, but they're really cool, and I like their system, right? Now this this is how you break them. This is a full 1 hour, right? Now take note of the fact that this 1 hour has 3 to 4 15 minutes, right? 15 here, 15, 30 plus 30, right? 4 of them. Now this 30 plus 30, that's a full 60 minutes, right? Now, I want you to go into the charts again and break them into 5 minutes. Oh no, this shouldn't be this lines. I love to be very, very detailed, so my separators have different configurations. Okay, so this is the first one right here. Now, this is the 5 minutes, and I'd like to use dotted lines to highlight the 5 minutes. And these are the things that I do in the charts that you wouldn't see me do, on this live chart, but it's on my second screen or my third screen. It's always going to be on one of my screens, but I wouldn't put this online most of the times, but now I'm beginning to do that. So I'm a very good person. In my view, I'm trying to help the trading community achieve that, which most people tend to hide. And I've not even gone even close to half of what I know and the things that I wish to share with the trading community. These are just the basics. Okay, these these right here, these right here would be how you would like make your first projection and determine what determine what the price action is on the first, on the first fractal. Okay, so when you've determined what the price range is on the first fractal, measure it, right? Take the low, sorry, I kind of didn't see that coming. All right, take the low right here, drag it down to the exact low right here where the candle ends. That's it right here. Okay, and hold on, let me return that line. I like things skewed. Now this would be how you would do it. Clone that, and it'll give you the next range out, right? Now, at this point right here, what is the closing price right here? Now, by Vortex mathematics, right, I want you to do a simple count of the current price region. All right. So the current price region gives us, okay, it gives us that high right there is at 4,124.62, right? 100.6 and then 2. So that's 19. Okay. This right here is 19. Now count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This would be 19 right here. Right here. Now mark exactly that point. Remember, this is an extension of this range, right? Hold on. I need to get this back to its shape. Remember this. Now we already know that the candle up there has given us 19 as the value of our count. 19 is actually supposed to be rounded up, but I won't go into that. That's a secret. Okay, so 19 right here gives us the value of 1, right? This is 1 here, right here. But notice that it failed, didn't get to the 19 exactly, and then touches this box. So that's okay, okay? It doesn't have to be efficient all the time. The most important thing is that it took 19 candle to get down here, okay? Now, at this point right here, remember that these candles are not accounted for, but that's okay. We'll get to know why. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is that from this point right here, there's a first an arc. An arc was created, right? We're trying to dissect this candle, precisely know exactly how we measure, okay? So before we get to understanding the nature of this arc, I want you to notice that it took for the doubling of this range right here, when you extend it by 1 count, 19 candle is what will fill this range expansion. That's to say, a repetition of this move here going downward will take a total of 19 candles. Even though we didn't get quite to it, it didn't do that. But this is how we measure using Vortex and price. Okay, so when you reduce the value of this high right here from 4,000 using Vortex mathematics, it'll give you almost, in this case, in most cases, which is incredible, right? Yeah, so it failed by a little. Look at the space. It's not more than 3 to 4 pips. Okay, I don't think it's much. Anyways, I can't count it. Don't have the time to still stick around and count all those things. But that's what I'm trying to let you understand is that when you take the high, okay, it'll give you a good understanding of what to expect later, all right, in your accounts, okay? Now, another thing to note is the 25 region, which is this right here, and the 75 region. These are the things you first mark out when you're beginning your analysis, okay? these 2 points on each candle, just the first quadrant, the first cycle. Mark that out. Okay. Now, we already know that there is a 75 down here, and we're expecting a change in direction when it gets to that point. But what we didn't actually calculate was the low right here. What was the value down here? Okay. When you know the value down here of this candle, that is this low, when you know the value right here, it'll prepare you, okay, and also give you the narrative that is surrounding this delivery right here. Now I won't go into all of that, but this is how geometry is that you can calculate almost every single fluctuation in the market. Now there are so many things I can see right here that I don't feel obliged to talk about because these are my materials and I want to I want to teach them at the pace that I want to teach them. All right. So this is how you would be able to, make direct and accurate price predictions without error, okay, of judgments. Now, when you notice that the first range right here is doubled and the high is fulfilled, every other thing that you see right here is just an alignment. Okay, this is the handshake scenario, the thing that literally the algorithm is looking at this point right here for a price region that it is targeting so that there would actually be a new movement reinitiated within this protocol right here. So it's looking for a new protocol shift. And so every database, every single information stored from this movement up here to this place down here within the first cycle, its delivery ended at this point right here. Then the handshake begins from here to here. And when the handshake is complete from the previous fractal, then this occurs. It stops from this point and targets 75. Okay, so I can be able to teach and dissect all these things for you structurally on a one-on-one teaching, but I wouldn't be able to sit and explain every component for you online right now on the go. No. And I don't feel the need to disclose all of the secrets of these markets anyways. It's not safe for anyone who has these informations to be able to run his mouth online. First of all, you'll get attacked by other mentors, and most of the things that you would face would be from individuals, not even the market makers, individuals, ordinary men and women who just hates information being disclosed, right? So those things also exist, and those are the things that I'm afraid of. That's why I can't keep running my mouth online. So most of the people that I took on my one-on-one mentorship got to know a bit more deeper into how I internalize time. Okay. And some of them made me very proud. Some of them are extremely lazy, but I'm mostly proud of them. Okay. So these are all of the things that I look at and I begin to dissect price, and one after the other, I give each of them, narratives and price points, bounce points. And now take this high right here, right? What is the high at exactly that point? We have 4119, 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9, yes, and then 560 plus 5 plus 6, right? That's 26. 26 is the same thing as 8, okay? Now we have 8 right here. Now count from this high right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does that look like magic? And where did it stop exactly? On the 25 region. So we're selling short at that point exactly and targeting this 75 will give you accurate win rate without any form of drawdown whatsoever, because you have price aligning with Vortex mathematics, in the axis of time. Now, if I drop these content online and within the first few weeks, people are not sending me results of their demo analysis and literally taking trades, winning trades using this methodology, I won't teach online anymore. Honestly, I won't. I won't teach online anymore. I'll just go on a break for a very long time and just rest off, you know, because I can't keep feeding you guys a lot of information and there are no people really making use of it, you know. That sucks. I feel like I'm wasting my time or something. But this is important to me. These are the things that some of the things that when I discovered really changed my life. Okay. So it took 8 candles, and by Vortex mathematics, the high on this candle is also 8, so it is a perfect alignment. That is what? A perfect sync in the market. And when that happens, price pushes lower to this point and aligns with this to create a handshake within this last fractal. Now, I can't explain the principles behind this fully to your understanding because some of them are things that I don't like to talk about. But keep in mind that this is something that once if you've understood properly, you become unstoppable in these markets. Unstoppable, guys. Imagine from this high on this candle exactly, when it forms it and you do a count and you find out that's exactly 8 and you just take a short right there and your target is the next, 75 down here when we did the math earlier. Okay, that's really cool, ain't it? It's really cool. So once it gets to it, you close your trade before it even gets to it. At this point, you're out. All right. And at this point right here, if there's another alignment, okay, another perfect sync, you target this point right here. This high right here is important. It's 19. 19 is the same thing as 1. 19 is the same thing as 1. That's the funny part in this business. Okay. But we don't break 19 down. Every value you have is equal to the number of the candles to be expected. Do not reduce the values in most cases when they are less than 20. Okay. So from 21 downward, the values remain constant. You don't reduce them. But from 24, 25, 23 upward, you reduce it because 21 is the final number in the casino's card in the deck. 21, when you get that value and you're playing blackjack, that's a check in checkers in that's a checkmate in that's like checkmate in chess. Okay, so 21 is it's like full house when you're playing against lower cards. So this is crazy. This is impossible to most of you, but now you have the information how to use the 25 region and how to use the 75 region. So this is the most important part of geometry. Enjoy this entire price action, enjoy these teachings, these principles, and there are more again, okay? But this is just the first lecture, and I hope that it makes sense to you. I I hope that it is something that you would protect, also, you know, build on, build on aggressively. So thank you for your time and God bless you all, and I'll see you in next videos to come. Be safe and good luck. Now, See you in the next one. Bye bye.